Dead wrong, huh? Well, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace joins us now. Good morning to you. Let's start right there. Do you think this is responsible and fair?
Well, truth of the matter is it is irresponsible and unfair. We should not be forcing blue-collar workers to pay for the education of folks who are going to college, university, law school, or getting their MBAs. And I think about my HVAC repairman. His name is Tommy. I went to high school with him. Tommy should not be paying for my kid's college education. That's unfair. He works hard to provide for his family. And there's probably outrage amongst blue-collar workers across the country. And I think this opportunity Biden sees to buy votes from Americans might backfire in November.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. That was my next question. You know, some critics do argue that this is purely an effort to buy votes. But do you think it's going to work? And why do you think it's going to backfire?
Well, the president knows, rightly so, that he doesn't have the power to write off the debts of students going to college. Nancy Pelosi said as much last year that he just doesn't have the power to do that. It would literally take an act of Congress to make this happen and/or be decided in the courts and may go as far as the Supreme Court. But when I talk to hardworking South Carolinians, they're outraged by the fact that they're going to pay for somebody to go to law school. That doesn't make any sense to Tommy, my HVAC repairman, or anybody else, Waffle House waitresses, etc., across the country. In no world does that make any sort of sense.
You know, it's interesting. I was just looking at this University of Pennsylvania Wharton budget model. That's quite a mouthful. It says even with the income gap, it gives 69% of the benefits to borrowers in the top 60% of income distribution. So you're giving a $90,000 bonus to doctors, a $55,000 bonus to lawyers. I mean, how is that reasonable and fair? It's just not.
No, it's not at all. And where's the focus on vocations? We have millions of Americans across the country who are struggling for work, who are struggling to get their children educated so they can get a good job when they graduate from high school. Many Americans can't afford to go to college because taxpayers have subsidized college and thus prices have gone up. That's where our focus really should be in this country, and it's just not.
Do you think this will end up in the courts, to your earlier point?
I think it has to. I don't think there's any way that you can have the President of the United States intervene in contracts for loan repayments. That's not a possibility. The left and Democrats have said so in the past, as recently as last year. And I do think this will end up as a case in court and could go as high as the Supreme Court.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Congresswoman Nancy Mace. We appreciate your comments this morning.